Who's got a gig coming up? This guy. Welcome back, everybody. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Vico. This weekend, I have a gig. My band and I, Yard Sale Kings, will be playing at a local spot called Mackenzie Tunes and Tonics in downtown Fairfax, Virginia. It's about a 2.5 hour show. We'll play everything from Patsy Cline to Chapeau Roan. So that's pretty cool. So let's talk about what gear I'm gonna be taking. So the stage that we play on for this place is a very, very small stage. I have to be very thoughtful about the type of gear and how much of the gear that I bring, especially on stage. So let's go over that today. First and foremost, you need a guitar. I'll be bringing my trusty lemon lime guitar. I don't know what to call it yet. But essentially, it's a Telecaster I built a couple months ago. Super light, super sweet sounding. I sourced out all the parts, and I'll put the list of all the parts that I used to build it in the description. I'll have to bring a backup, so I'll bring my other Telecaster, my Lake Placid Blue Telecaster. That used to be my main guitar, was my favorite guitar until I built this one, which I didn't think was gonna happen. And it didn't happen for a while. There were a few iterations of the build that progress over time, each time getting a little better. As for the amp that we'll be taking, I think this time, instead of taking the Victoria Chicago Lux Tweed, which I usually take, it's one of my favorite amps, I'm gonna be taking the Magnatone Starlite, tiny little 5-watt amp. It has a smaller footprint, it sounds great. Like I said, the venue is a small little restaurant, so I don't need that much volume. And I'll be miking up the amp anyways. Speaking of miking up, I'm gonna be miking it up with a Sennheiser 906E. Great microphone, super forgiving. Not similar to the SM57, but it's similar in that it's widely used. The 906E and the 609 are used a lot, especially because you can just hang it off the side of the amp and it goes right on the speaker. Super convenient. Forgiving in that the positioning of the microphone relative to the cone of the speaker is not as drastic as the SM57, which can go from really harsh to really mellow really quick. And that's gonna be going into my Allen and Heath CQ-18T mixer. That leads me to my little gadgets, right? I'll be taking my iPad, the mixer, a couple cables, like 2 microphone cables. We have 2 singers. I'll be taking 2 instrument cables for my rig, pedalboard to amp, guitar to pedalboard. I'll also be taking 2 extra instrument cables just in case we need it or the venue doesn't have it for whatever reason. I'll be taking a power strip so that everything can be nice and tight in the back. I should bring a backup. I'm bringing a backup guitar, which means I should probably bring a backup amp. But instead of bringing a backup amp, I'm going to be bringing the Universal Audio Woodrow. I can get very similar tones on the Woodrow as I would get on the Starlite in the tweed voicing of the amp. If you don't know much about the Magnatone Starlite, it is a pretty expensive amp for what it is. You know, it's 5 watts. So when you think of 5 watts, you normally don't think of expensive amps. But it's great. I don't regret it. You can go from a boxy tweed to a gnarly tweed to a clean black face to a crunchy black face, all using the toe knob, which is really interactive, and the negative feedback switch. And even though it is a 5-watt little amp with a 8-inch speaker, it sounds a little wider and bigger than your typical 5-watt amp, like the 57 Champ, the 5F1 circuit by Fender. I don't know why that is. I think it's either because they specially made that speaker for that amp, or the way the cab is set up, it's just a little wider. Maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know. I don't know much about that stuff. As far as sounds, I'm gonna be bringing a little pedal board, a Rockboard 2.0, which I have featured on this channel before. Only 4 pedals. That's either too many or too little. So I'm only gonna be using a tremolo, a reverb, an overdrive, and a tuner. I know I could have another pedal on there, like a delay, and take out the tuner. I just can't do it. I need a tuner on my pedal board. So I'll be running the Boss TU3 as my main tuner, a Keeley modded Boss BD2 as my overdrive for that light crunch to full overdriven sound for some solos. It's super responsive with the volume knob of the guitar. I'll get back to that in just a second. That's going to be going into the Topanga, Catalinbread Topanga reverb, one of my all-time favorite reverb pedals, into the Mad Professor Mellow Yellow Tremolo. This is the hand-wired version, which I really love. I bought it, I don't want to say by accident, but when I bought it, I didn't really know what it was. I just found a good deal and I bought it at a local guitar store here called Action Music in Falls Church, Virginia. If you're from around here or coming this way, stop by there. The owner, Matt, is a gem, truly wonderful guy to work with. The people that work in the store are super knowledgeable. I don't know if Mike is gonna be watching this, but if you need to know learn some blue licks, Mike's your guy. So yeah, that's where I bought that. Going back to the Boss BD2, one of the reasons I really like that pedal is because it's very amp-like in the way it breaks up and the way it sounds. So what I like to do to get my core sound, usually in general, is I'll get the amp at a sweet spot that I like, where it has a tiny little bit of crunch and still clean when the guitar volume is maxed out. What I do is I roll the guitar knob back 25%, so a quarter of the way, and then I'll turn on the pedal. And in terms of volume, what I'm looking for there is that the volume with the pedal on and the volume pot of the guitar rolled down a quarter of the way, it's around the same volume as if I didn't have the pedal and my volume is maxed out. And if I do that, no matter the overdrive pedal, for the most part, when I have the overdrive pedal on and I turn the volume, oh my God, how many times am I gonna say volume knob? All the way up, it's a nice boost for solos, for crunch. And then when I roll back, I get that nice sizzling, rhythm sound, which I really love. That pedal board is gonna be powered once again by Chox. It's gonna be the Chox 4. It's a 4 output power supply that's usually meant to be an expander to the, I use it with my Chox DC7. But the cool thing about this is, one, all 4 outputs still output 660 milliamps at 9 volt, which is like, you can power almost every pedal with that. Each output is switchable from 9, 12, 15 to 18 volts. It can be powered by like a 24 volt pigtail power supply, or what I like doing, and which I am going to be doing, I've tested it many times at local open mics, at jam sessions. It works. I'm going to be powering it with my little 10,000 milliamp Nightcore portable charger. It's unbelievably small, it's light, and it works flawlessly. And for the length of our gig, it's really not a problem. I'll also bring like a USB-C outlet, wall outlet, in case for some reason it doesn't work. Again, backup. It really has been a tremendous little kit. I can set up and go super quick, especially at open mics. I'm not looking for outlets. I'm just plug and play. And the reason I'm using the Rockboard 2.0 is because it's tiny, it's small, it's light, it hides wires really well. As I mentioned, the stage is really small, so the footprint that the pedal board and amp combination will take is next to nothing. Especially if I decide to not use the overdrive as a stomp, just leave it always on. I can just hide it behind the amp, leave it on top of the amp, on the side of the stage, anywhere, and then just be free with guitar cable and guitar, which I might end up doing. It's gonna be a little challenging for me because the restriction of not being able to rely on certain pedals for certain sounds, but I think it'll be fun. It'll be challenging. I've done it a lot, at home, at open mics, at jams. I think it's gonna be good. And if it doesn't work out, lesson learned, right? The pedal board will be going into a mono bag tick. It actually is meant to strap on to the top of the mono gig bag, which I'm going to be taking my main guitar in. So it's super easy to carry. The amp is only about 20 pounds, so super easy. And I'm gonna be bringing everything else in my trusty Pelican 1535 Air, big yellow case. The mixer, maybe the mixer will be in its own case. I don't wanna mix too many cables and stuff. It could ding up the screen. I don't know, maybe I will. But I could put the mixer and all the cables in there. I could even put the pedal board in there, but I'm gonna keep it separate. That way, if someone else needs to get something out of there when I get there, they don't have to take my pedal board out. And not that I don't trust anybody, but sometimes things get unplugged and twisted. I don't want to mess with that. So pedal board will be nice and safe in its own case. Everything else will be in the Pelican case, along with the iPad, the mixer, the cables, the adapters. For this gig, I'm gonna try something new. Has nothing to do with sound. I'm gonna be taking this camera right here that I'm recording this episode on. It's brand new to me. It's the Fuji XM5. It's actually relatively a new camera. Right now I only have the kit lens, but I think it's okay. I have a Rode NTG, or Rode Video Mic Go 2, I think that's what it's called, on it right now. I think it sounds great. I'm gonna record our gig. We haven't done that yet. It's something we've been meaning to do. I think it's important. I think it's cool. It's gonna make us able to advertise and showcase, you know, the stuff that we can play. I don't know, my head was spinning. Right before I started this video, I was sure I was gonna bring the Victoria Chicago Lux and my Metro 16 pedal board. And then I thought, you know, let's challenge ourselves. Let's try bringing everything small and let's see if it works. It's gonna work. The way I'm gonna be miking up the amp with the 906E is using this Triad Orbit clamp, along with this little ball joint adapter. It makes it super easy to nail down exactly where I want the mic. It doesn't shift. And again, because it's a small stage, I can move the amp around and the mic position will not change. One, I don't have to take up space with the mic stand for the mic, and I can move it around anywhere. So even if it becomes too loud on stage, I can shove it somewhere else. It doesn't matter, because it's still gonna be mic'd up, and we'll have floor monitors on the stage. So yeah, I mean, it's just super fluid, you know. It's gonna do good. And once again, I always believe in backing things up. So I don't know, maybe I will bring the Boss DM2W. It's an analog delay. It's an amazing delay, and it can be battery powered. So I can put a 9-volt battery in there and just leave it on the side there, right after the, I guess, reverb and tremolo if I needed to. Or just patch it in between the BD2 and the Topanga. Which leads me to the next thing. You know, sometimes I think about, should I just buy a slightly bigger board that's only one row? Like the Mono Lite is slightly bigger than the Rockboard 2.0. Or should I go with the Mono Lite Plus, which is the size of the Nano Plus, but it's a little deeper. And then Rockboard makes a 2.1, which is the same width, but also a little deeper, so for bigger pedals. I don't know, my brain is just going crazy, and I don't think I want to buy anything else right now. I have plenty of pedal boards, I have plenty of pedals, I have plenty of amps, I have my guitars. I realistically don't need anything, but you know, musicians always want the next thing. I mean, I guess that's it, you know? I got nothing else to say other than good luck to me, I guess. Stick around and maybe I'll do a follow-up episode on how everything went. If you have any questions about some of this gear, you know, let me know. If you have any suggestions of what I can do to make this process even faster, you know, load in, load out. You know, what do you do when you have to play at a really small stage? Do you even bring a pedal board? Do you just bring an amp that has overdrive and channel switching? Like what do you what do you do? That's it. Thanks again for watching. My name is Vico, and I'll see you next time.